the introduction to Vajrayana as well as the most significant steps in Buddhist practice, and the heritage. What is the importance for practitioners to understand the pure and uninterrupted flow of heritage? It is to understand the attitude or practice that you are supposed to be equipped with after taking refuge, and to understand how to cultivate merits which can change the fate in your current life, free from suffering, eventually be liberated and cut off the cycle of reincarnation. More than 2,400 years ago, Queen Siddhartha achieved enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree and became the Buddha, known as Sakya Muni Buddha. He traveled over the country and expounded the Dharma for more than 4 decades without interruption. These teachings have been assembled by the disciples of the Buddha into Sutra, Vijnana, and Sastra, and were passed on to the later generations of the followers through the incarnation and Sambhogakaya of Sakyamuni Buddha. Present-day Buddhism has developed into 3 major schools: Mahayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana. Inheritance on the whole is to carry on the Dharma timelessly so as to ensure the integrity and purity of the teaching. Therefore, the Dharma will never be lost or deteriorated as long as its heritage continues on end. Or it can be said that writer's Dharma will decay without its heritage and even go into complete disruption. Whether the Dharma to flourish or not matters greatly to the timeless importance of the Dharma heritage. Today, more than 2,400 years later, all of us here are people with profound blessings. In the cyber world, where it is difficult to distinguish truth and falsehood, we can learn to believe in writer's Dharma and take refuge beneath the holy Guru龙德Jing Rinpoche at观音山to become a Buddhist disciple. Instead of a lengthy theory, the Dharma of Buddhism is a way to teach us how to know ourselves and to pursue the value and meaning of our life. Buddhist practice is the journey to penetrate the truth of life rather than do the research. Through Buddhist practice, we can realize the concept of Buddhism and then put it into practice. This is the Dharma carried out in practice, namely, as what we often call it, real practice. Everyone can catch up. Vajrayana aims at the teacher as the doctrine and regards the teacher as the Buddha. Only by following the teachings can you obtain the enlightened good fruits of practice. The first step in real practice is to understand the heritage. The Holy Guru once preached about a significant classic, the essential of the Guru Padmasambhava's evidence collection, which was proclaimed by Guru Padmasambhava himself and was excerpted from the Sutra of Origin and Collection of Guru Padmasambhava. This is the quintessential focus from the beginning of Buddhist practice to Buddhahood. Those who practice Buddhism should follow this key doctrine and implement it in their daily life. In accordance with Guru Padmasambhava, karma is not force that everyone must believe in. Life and death are beyond everything, as impermanence comes fast, and we should seek liberation. We should seek a Vajra Guru as a major recourse for Buddhist practice, recite the 4 refuges reverently, and swear to never retreat. We should arouse great bodhicitta and widely cross over sentient beings. We should strictly and purely uphold the precept to establish the function. Karma is not force that everyone must believe in, said Guru Padmasambhava from the very beginning, which is the major premise for us to practice Buddhism. When we deeply believe in karma, everything following behind it will be easy for us to cultivate and to arise as all kinds of stages. Otherwise, non-stop delusions, afflictions, and retreat will come into being our thoughts if we refuse to believe in the karma of cause and effect that will devastate our entire life. The Holy Guru once preached a number of old practitioners failed to hold real faith in the Buddha Dharma at their old age. They sometimes have no clear idea about doing good deeds and doubt if it works for them to obtain merits. It's terrifying to generate such skepticism after spending a lifetime on Buddhism practice. Karma is not false that everyone must believe in. When hearing the teachings of the Guru Padmasambhava, people with good roots will start to believe in it to the end. If people who want to pursue the path of liberation don't believe in karma, then there's nothing more to talk about. Consequently, it must be determined to seek the phase of getting out of reincarnation. Based on Guru Padmasambhava's teaching, we should seek a Vajra Guru as a major recourse for Buddhist practice. This requirement will be fulfilled after you take refuge beneath the Guru. Then, the next step is to rely on the Guru to practice after that. This is the start of your Buddhist practice. A story in the Sakya aphorism. There was a great heaven bhikkhu who had many believers to follow him to practice Buddhism, and all of them attained the state of arhat. By the time the great bhikkhu who passed away, his disciples who possessed the supernatural power started to observe where their guru might have been reincarnated. By having observed with power, they saw their guru was crying out in the infernal hell. The disciples felt that this was impossible. It was hard to believe that the disciples of the Guru had become arahants, and how could their Guru be reduced to hell instead? Then, when the disciples observed again, their Guru had been already in the 33 heavens. They went to consult the Buddha, and the Buddha preached due to the fact that he once committed unrelenting sins. The great bhikkhu fell into hell. However, he crossed over planet disciples to attain the state of arhat, which enabled him to attain the merit. And this item of merit led him up to the 33 heavens. From this illusion, the disciples who are resolved to have strong faith can be able to reach achievements, even if the Guru creates no merit in achievements. On the contrary, if disciples are not equipped with strong faith, the Guru who was even reincarnated from the Buddha cannot be able to lead the ordinary into the sage. Likewise, an old woman worshipped the dog seed as the Buddhas. The old woman was devoted, so the deities generated a lot of relics afterwards. When the old woman died, he achieved success in cultivation, and auspicious signs such as rainbow and hollows emerged one after another. Accordingly, having strong faith in your Guru is the major factor to achievement. Vajrayana takes the Guru as the base, and the core of all practices is the Guru, which can be understood from the following aspects. The origin of the Dharma. The Dharma comes from the teaching of Sakyamuni Buddha and has been passed down for more than 2,400 years. Generations of courageous practitioners have taken on the responsibility of the Dharma propagation and have become the Gurus of successive generations. The Gurus have devoted themselves to the field of Buddhism with their knowledge, experience, wisdom, skillful and expedient means, spirit, and labor. It is very difficult for practitioners who wish to study Vajrayana to enter essence of Tantra practice without the guidance of a Guru. In terms of sutras, one has to go through a long period of time of the 3 asankhya kalpas, about billions of years and countless reincarnations. They can have some achievements. If we can receive precise guidance from our Guru, we can avoid the obstacles of blind practice, detours, and wasting time. They are able to quickly get to the core of the Dharma, adjust our routes, and enter the Dharma ocean of practice smoothly. What's more, it enables the practitioners to yield twice the result with half the effort and attain liberation. In Vajrayana, also known as Tantra, the Guru is not only the origin of all Dharma, but also a beacon of light on our path of practicing, guiding us in the right direction and freeing us from the cycle of birth and death. The grace can never be repaid. Focal blessing power. Sakya Pandita, the Sakya forefather, compared the Buddha's blessing power to the power of sunlight. If we take a matchstick as an example, no matter how bright the sunlight is, the matchstick will not burn on its own, but still need a magnifying glass to focus on the sun's energy on lighting the matchstick. Likewise, even though the Buddha is extremely powerful to give us blessing, just like the sun can give us light, we cannot focus on the blessing power to help us leave the cycle of existence quickly. Surely we need a guru as a medium to get strong blessing to have liberation from samsara. Therefore, in the practice of Tindra, one must visualize the guru always on the top of the head. For the blessing power of generation of forefathers, Eden Stakini, you will only know the guru from the lineage. The faith in the guru determines whether the practitioner should receive protection and support. The worldly and enlightened protectors are only ordered by the guru from the lineage to assist the practitioner. The guru will also decide whether or not to use his own practice to give the most direct blessing to his disciples depending on the situation. Therefore, the guru is the focal point of all blessing power. The cornerstone of faith. The Far Dharma Sutra says, faith is the source of peace and the mother of merit and virtue. It nurtures all good dharmas. Faith is bodhicitta as well as compassion, which is the source of Buddha's peace and the mother of virtue that can nourish all goodness. Only by eradicating all doubt and going against the flow of birth and death can we open the door to nirvana. Buddhism is like an ocean that one cannot enter without faith. Therefore, faith is the most fundamental foundation of all practices. Faith can make the practitioner free from doubt and generate an unspeakable motivation to comply with the teachings by the Buddha at all the times that can greatly increase the success rate. If faith drops at 1%, the success rate may drop to 0, which becomes a major factor of failure. It is precisely the slightest difference determines success or failure, and the slightest hesitation determines victory or defeat. The treatise on the great perfection of wisdom states, Buddhism is like an ocean that one can only enter with faith. Faith is the wind sail that can sail on the wind and swim in the ocean of Dharma. Faith is also the compass that leads sentient beings in the right direction and leads them to the other shore. Vajrayana takes the Guru as the pace, and all Dharma teachings come from the Guru, who is our compass. All the guidance of tricks, the wisdom of removing doubts from our mind, and instruction of practice come from the Guru. If we do not have faith in our Guru, we lack the foundation and all learning will become meaningless. As a result, the Guru is the cornerstone of faith. The extraordinary merits. There are 4 main schools of Tibetan Buddhism, each of which has its own sub-schools. But regardless of the school, the fundamentals of practice remain unchanged. To rely on the root Guru to practice the Dharma and to do the yidams practice we receive from the Guru. Rely on the root Guru refers to the Guru and the forefathers, which is the great merit for practitioners. In order to preserve the righteous Dharma that can correctly and continuously be inherited from one generation to the next, today it is passed on to the Holy Guru Longde Jing Rinpoche. The Guru is in the same human realm as we are, so we can communicate directly with the Guru, which is exactly the most valuable thing. However, we should not think about Guru as a model just because he is in the human realm. This is a big mistake in cultivation and will be the main reason why you will not reach success in practice. Imagine if the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas do not manifest themselves in person. How could they teach people to practice Buddhism? How could they guide us to practice our mind? Do we just rely on dreams? This is why all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are reborn in the human world and take on the form of human beings to guide our Buddhism practice. Thus, the Dharma always admonished the Buddhist to regard the Guru as the Buddha, and that Vajrayana takes the Guru as the path. It contains very profound meanings. Having a deeper understanding and trust between the Guru and the disciple is necessary. It is because the Guru can communicate directly with the disciples through words, helping them self-doubt and analyze the Dharma, and more importantly, the Guru can teach disciples according to their aptitude via deep understanding. Therefore, direct communication becomes an extremely important part of the practice. Generations of forefathers have attained parinirvana, though. The holy Guru Longde Rinpoche will spread the lineage far and wide. All of us that practice Buddhism in观音山must understand the inheritance of it. Ngawang Thupten Lekshe Gyatso, the 25th Chogye Trichen Rinpoche, was born in 1920 near Gyashar Kushang Monastery in Shigatse, in the Tsang Province of central Tibet, and his family belonged to the sacred Che family. His father was Sona Shangye Wanchu, and his mother was Chime Droka, a daughter of the Sukpa family of Narpeling. The lineage is said to have descended from the clear light gods and is the Gyashar Kushang branch of the Che family. Many head gods have been born into the Che family. The masters of the Che family, including the present Chogye Trichen, often have a special birthmark, markings resembling tiger stripes on the thighs, like the tiger skin skirts of head gods such as Vajra and Kalachakra. Since the time of the 11th to 12th century, the Che family has produced countless fully accomplished practitioners down to the present day. Around 1924, about 4 to 7 years of age, Rinpoche journeyed with his parents on a pilgrimage, reaching as far as Mount Kailash in the west part of Tibet. Rinpoche's parents had then been accomplished practitioners of the teachings of the Great Perfection. Their principal guru was Chogye Rinpoche, a close disciple of a celebrated Nyingma master, Dunjong Limpa. At the time Chogye Rinpoche was propagating Dharma in western Tibet, he bestowed many teachings and blessings on Chogye Rinpoche and his parents, and made predictions regarding them. Chogye Rinpoche offered Rinpoche and his parents a letter containing verses of blessing written as follows. May Sonang Sangye Wanchu realize the view of Dija Pachembo. May Nanjo Yeshi Samo perfect the 4 visions. May the aptitudes of the Chenren Nanje Doje, the 25th Chogye Rinpoche, be equal to the sky. The 25th Chogye Rinpoche explained that these are the words of blessing predicting that his father would attain enlightenment through the doctrine practice of the view of cutting through, that his mother would attain enlightenment through the doctrine practice of perfecting the 4 visions of the directing crossing, and that the Rinpoche himself would perform activities that would spread far and wide. Chogye Rinpoche's parents were surprised by the declarations of Chogye Rinpoche's letter of blessing, since their young son had not been recognized as a Tukyu or chosen as a Lama. When they returned to central Tibet, their son was subsequently selected and recognized as the Chogye Trichen by the 13th Dalai Lama. Since then, each of Chogye Rinpoche's blessings has come true. The Sakya school has 4 principal sub-schools. First, the Sakya, founded by Zachen Gonga Ningbo. Second, the Norba, founded by Nochen Gonga Zangbo. Third, the Tsapa, founded by Zachen Loso Gyatso. And the fourth, the Zongba, founded by Doje Denpa Gonga Namgya. The Tsapa lineage is renowned for maintaining all the highly prized and common or most esoteric meditation lineages of the Sakya school, and thus, Tapa masters have been traditionally represented as the holders of the practice lineage within the Sakya tradition. The precious practice lineages of which the Tapa are known include the uncommon path with the result, the uncommon Vajrayana of Naropa, the 13 golden dharmas, the Kalakotra of Janapas, and many others. Chogye Trichen is composed of two terms. Chogye means 18 exalted spiritual qualities, and Trichen is throne holder. The Chogye Trichens received many offerings from the Chinese emperors. One unique offering was the ceremonial hat, a copy of which Chogye Rinpoche is often seen wearing in photos. The hat is replete with the symbolism of Vajrayana Buddhism in general and of the deity Havadra in particular. The famous hat was named only opponent of the world by the emperor. The bronze statue of Chogye Rinpoche was molded by the Holy Guru Chogye Trichen in 2017, is wearing the ceremonial hat. In the same year, before Chogye Rinpoche's father passed away, he sat upright in meditation posture in a kind of meditation state entered by yogis prior to physical death. During this 2-week period, it sometimes seems that he might have already passed away, but then he would speak again. When he finally passed away, many rainbows appeared as he was cremated. These auspicious signs were witnessed by many people. In 1929, at the age of 10, Chogye Rinpoche received the vows of a novice monk and was officially installed at the Narendra Monastery. The lineage holder Chogye Trichen Rinpoche is the 25th patriarch of Pancho Narendra Monastery and is the head Lama of the Tapa branch of the Sakya school. Pancho Narendra is one of the main monasteries of the Tapa tradition, located in the northeast of Lhasa in central Tibet. It was founded in 1435 by one of the great masters in the history of the Sakya tradition, London Shigatse. During its first 20 years, Narendra grew to house 3,000 monks. Over the course of more than 500 years, Pancho Narendra generally had between 700 and 1,000 resident monks. Although many years passed, Narendra has been home to thousands of visiting monks, starting at the college there. Narendra was one of the most renowned centers in all of Tibet for the practice of the female tantric deity Vajrayana. There were said to be generation after generation of yogis who through the practice of Vajrayana in the form of a narrow kachama, accomplished the fruition of going to the celestial realms. The previous Chogye Trichen Rinpoche manifested signs of Powa, the transference of a conscious, to Vajrayana's paradise at the time of his passing away from this world. From his enthronement until the age of 39, Chogye Rinpoche remained in the Narendra Monastery, where he mastered the monastic scriptural rituals, the rituals of mandala, the ritual musical accompaniment, as well as the major meditation practice lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. Rinpoche carried out retreats of Vajrapani, Hayagriva, Manjushri, Sahamukha, and Vajrayana in the form of Nara Kachama, and practiced the tantric yogas of the subtle channels and vital winds as well as the yogic physical exercises. Chogye Rinpoche has completed meditation retreats of all the major deities of 4 classes of Buddhist Tantra. During these years, the event of practice was inevitably accompanied by the appearance of signs and wonders. In 1959, when the Tibetan situation became difficult, Chogye Trichen Rinpoche had a dream that he saw a man riding a big black horse and said to him, "I will give you a travel permit to live here." Sooner or later, another nun appeared and said to him, "This is your pass." Then she gave him a document. Chogye Rinpoche tipped off that they were to go and Carmel as the protectors of deity Vajrayana and Guru Padmasambhava. Due to the help of the protectors, Chogye Rinpoche left Tibet with his guru and his mother. They successfully arrived at Eastern Nepal, where he started his propagation of the Dharma overseas. Over the past several decades, he had done his best to preach in the Muslim area, where he had laid solid foundations for Vajrayana, or the diamond vehicle. In 1963, Chogye Rinpoche made his pilgrimage to Lumini, the birthplace of the Buddha. The moment he arrived there, he suddenly had a strong determination of being the Buddha's devotee, and also has a strong craving for admiration to the Buddha. Asking for help from the Lord of the Muslim, both of them asked the king of Nepal, Mahendra Bhurvikran Shah, to build a Buddhist temple in Lumini. In the same year, Chogye Rinpoche's parents had achieved the practice of great perfection. His father gained his achievement by practicing cutting through Chakcho of great perfection. His mother also practiced great perfection and gained her achievement of directing crossing, Tokyo. The latter was even greater than the former. On the very day when Chogye Rinpoche's mother was going to pass away, she laid her head on his lap, and she said to him that she felt peaceful and happy to be able to rest on her son's lap. After that, she peacefully closed her eyes and passed away. In 1969, when it was a time of extreme scarcity, Chogye Rinpoche decided to set up a monastery, so he decided in person, monitored the construction, and raised funds to build it. In addition to the donation from Khyenrab Muslim, Chogye Rinpoche also sold out his private precious belongings he brought from Tibet. His selfless devotion moved many people to support the construction of the monastery. Chogye Rinpoche had long been famous for keeping his pure practice moksha vow of Aniya. Not only did he thoroughly keep the Bodhisattva's vow, but also he dedicated to the Samaya precept of Vajrayana. Indeed, he was a great guru who faithfully kept all the regulations of the three vows. Chogye Rinpoche had mastery of a wide variety of learnings on Buddhism. Not only was he a practitioner who actively kept Buddhist vows, but he was also a scholar of Tibetan literature, poetry, history, and Buddhism. Besides, he had a specialty monastery in Tibetan traditional poetry. Chogye Rinpoche's attendant Wandala has shared an anecdote about him. In 1970, Chogye Rinpoche stayed in Lumini. One night, he was reading in his room, so the attendant took his read in the next door room. Suddenly, he heard Chogye Rinpoche speaking in a loud voice as if he had passed on the teachings. The next morning, Chogye Rinpoche asked him, "Did you hear anything last night?" "Last night I was very lucky to see the pure image of Norchen Gonga Zambo." Chogye Rinpoche pleasantly told him his happy encounter with Norchen. Norchen appeared in front of me, high above my head, with his hand stretched to me, so I held his hand immediately and showed my earnest respect to him by putting his hands on my head. While I was holding his hand, I chanted the famous praise to Norchen Gonga Zomba, known as Rab Karma, to dedicate to Norchen with all my heart. Then Chogye Rinpoche continued telling Wandula that Norchen Gonga Zombo was a great guru. Since Norchen and Rinpoche had something in common, both of them obeyed the complete rules of Bhikshus, practiced Havaja and uncommon path with the result. This made Norchen so happy that he showed his pure image to Chogye Rinpoche and blessed him. In fact, Chogye Rinpoche had achieved a Buddhism Buddha body, but he never mentioned this to others, though everybody near him knew all about this. According to his attendant, something incredible would happen at whatever ceremonies he presided over. Chogye Rinpoche once transmitted a 13-day-long Abhisankana of Mahavarakana. On the last day of the ceremony, the Abhisankana of Mahagala was held. On the mandala, there were 100 butter stamps being ignited. all of a sudden, all the flames of barred lamps merged together and became a huge flame, whirling clockwise, rising high, then disappearing above the sky. All the people attending the ceremony witnessed the whole process, and they all appreciate Chogye Rinpoche's episode Buddha Bodhi. Since 1971, Chogye Rinpoche had been one of the tutors of the 14th Dalai Lama, to whom he always showed his nisaya and respect. The collection of Tantras, a treasury of Buddhism, contains teachings and lineages of all Tibetan Buddhist schools and practice lineages, including Nyingma, Sakya, Gaju, Guru, Bondon, Jongnan, Urjin, Ningya, Kalakatra, and so on. It contains 315 major episekana and 25 volumes of great commentaries, so that it generally takes 2 years for learners to complete all the teachings. Chogye Rinpoche had transmitted the collection of Tantras to His Holiness the 41st Sakya Trichen. Before this, it was the sole holders of the teachings. In 1975, the construction of Khyenrab Monastery was completed, and the consecration ceremony was held. During his stay at monastery, Chogye Rinpoche had received many honorable visitors, like the 14th Dalai Lama, the 16th Kapama, Gyatso Khenche Rinpoche, Sakya Trichen, and other prominent lamas from various schools of Tibetan Buddhism. By the way, you will visit the prestigious monastery when making a pilgrimage to Rubini. Located in Kathmandu, Nepal, Jangchen Lakten Monastery was completed in 1985 with a splendid 12-meter statue of Bodhisattva Maitreya made with 280 kg gold, making it precious and dignified beyond description. Presided over by the Holiness the Chogye Trichen, accompanied by many eminent Rinpoche and lamas from various schools, the 8-day consecration ceremony became one of the great Buddhist events at that time. In 1989, during the propagation of Buddha Dharma in Cochin, Malaysia, Chogye Rinpoche held the empowerment of the Kalakatra and taught the 6-branch practice of Vajrayana, which was guided by Jatsanjana Tarantaratha. Chogye Rinpoche instructed the attendants to make the mandala according to Dharma. Let's spread butters on the metal plate to stick some grain onto it. When Chogye Rinpoche started to hold the Dharma practice, his appearance became prodigious and powerful. As the procedure came to the consecration ceremony, he said to attendees, "All saints of Kalakatra are now appearing beyond mandala." An attendant described that Chogye Rinpoche's intonation turned Araton, just as he had clearly seen all saints of the Kalakatra. After the impartment ceremony, the attendant discovered some clear patterns on the mandala plate. The patterns were neither under nor above the butter. Instead, the patterns appeared inside the butter. There were 8 clear flower shapes of the lotus around the plate and 2 in the middle. In the biographic literature, the patriarch has written that flowers represent accomplishment, so that these flowers can present the appearance of all saints of the Kalakatra. Chogye Rinpoche had been to Japan in 1994, Australia in 1996, and the United States and Canada in 1998 for the propagation of Buddha Dharma. He perfectly held and taught the empowerment of the Kalakatra and the 6-branch practice of Vajrayana overseas. In 1998, he held the empowerment in Taipei International Convention Center, and over 4,000 disciples attended. Vajrayana was all the range, and learning Tibetan Buddhism became more and more prevalent. At his early age, Chogye Rinpoche did meditation 4 times per day, 4 to 5 hours each time. He dedicated to practice the Buddha's teaching rigorously. Sometimes he was able to accomplish 2 to 3 times Hevajra or other Dharma practice during each meditation. He only slept 1 or 1.5 hours each day in his whole life, and this led to his accomplishment. Chogye Rinpoche was not only wise but also had a sense of humor. Once his disciple asked, "I'm already good at meditation. How can I break through the bottleneck?" Chogye Rinpoche replied, "You should practice compassion." The disciple seems disappointed, thinking that Rinpoche didn't understand how good his meditation was. Rinpoche then taught, "Empty nature and compassion are actually one. The more compassion you have, the more empty nature you will understand." The disciple was satisfied with Rinpoche's teachings. Then the disciple asked again, "What is the tip to attaining Buddhahood quickly?" Chogye Rinpoche responded, "Is there a key to quickly attaining Buddhahood?" "Yes, there is. We are fellow apprentices in our previous life. Now you are kneeling down in front of me asking questions, and I'm able to sit here answering you. The biggest difference is diligence. Thus, diligence is the fastest way to the path of Buddhahood." In 2004, Thupten Monastery was completed in Rubini Garden, Nepal. This is a big temple and its location has convenient transportation. Every year before Tibet Lunar New Year, Chogye Rinpoche would lead Sangha to hold the ceremony of the tantric deities Mahagala and Mahagali for over 10 days, which annually attracted thousands of monks and Buddhists to visit. Chogye Rinpoche had great Dharma propagation, which affected sentient beings profoundly, especially the contribution to the revival of Buddha Dharma in Lubini Garden, Nepal. The king Birinja proudly worshipped him as the Gokha Darshan Bahu, which meant the great teacher of West Nepal. The king showed the greatest respect to Chogye Rinpoche for his contribution to Dharma propagation. In fact, Chogye Rinpoche was the only Tibetan Lama to receive the honorific title from the King of Nepal. In December 2004, Holy Guru Chogye Trichen led his disciple from Taiwan to Nepal to visit his guru Chogye Trichen Rinpoche, and they participated in the ceremony of worship Samantabhadra, which was first held after the consecration of Gyatso Monastery. The blessing water from Chogye Rinpoche was well known among Buddhists. People always brought bottles of water to visit him. Chogye Rinpoche would add some blessing water into the bottles, hold the mantra, and then blow the mantra into the bottle. Whenever we visit Chogye Rinpoche, we also did the same thing, for we knew how precious the blessing water was. His blessing water was so precious that many people applied it to avoid sickness and adversities by drinking the blessing water prayerfully. According to the temple's Lama, the expenditure of Gyatso Monastery was donated by a foreign disciple who was cured of cancer after getting such a great blessing from Chogye Rinpoche. On 14th of June 2005, Chogye Rinpoche was touched by Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche, who flawlessly upheld all three sects of vows of three Buddhist vehicles and dedicated himself to the propagation of Buddha Dharma in Taiwan. According to the deep karma connection, Chogye Rinpoche meditated and called Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche's name 3 times. Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche was certificated by Chogye Rinpoche as Vajra Guru and conferred on him the title of Chogye Trichen, which meant Dharma Vajra. In October of 2006, Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche led his disciples to Nepal to celebrate Chogye Rinpoche's 86th birthday. He brought him the Buddha statue made from gold as an offerings. Chogye Rinpoche felt joyful and asked the chief to prepare Taiwanese cuisine for Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche and the disciples. What a great honor we were, because we had the opportunities to have lunch with Chogye Rinpoche, especially for the people with obstructive life as us. There was a very evocative practice guided among Chogye Rinpoche, the holy Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche, and a disciple of Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche. One night, a disciple had a dream about his practice, so he went to ask his guru, who compassionately instructed, "Your errand is green Tara, and you should do Tara practice." Upon hearing this, the disciple began practicing Tara. When this disciple was a member of the pilgrimage to Nepal, he heard the guru saying, "We need to accumulate merits for many eons because we are fortunate enough to see the Siddharth like Chogye Rinpoche in this life. If you are fortunate enough to meet him, you must remember to ask whatever questions that are important to your lifelong practice and make a good wish to His Eminence." Then the disciple kept thinking hard, what questions should I ask His Holiness? The Guru compassionately understood that, although the disciple had good roots and believed in his Guru, he had not yet developed his full faith. So the Guru encouraged his disciple to take this chance to ask Chogye Rinpoche about what he had dreamed of relating to his practice, and saw how Chogye Rinpoche would instruct him. When he reported his dream to Chogye Rinpoche through the interpreter, Chogye Rinpoche replied, "Practice green Tara." This short and concise instruction struck a deep chord with the disciple, and from then on, he had his full faith within his Guru, because what Chogye Rinpoche instructed him was exactly the same as what his Guru had enlightened. From this, it was clear that the realization of Holy Longdu Yenjin Rinpoche was extraordinary. The realization of Chogye Rinpoche in practice was beyond imagination. In his later years, Chogye Rinpoche ran into an obstacle, breaking his line due to his compassionate acceptance to his disciples, and the doctor diagnosed that it required surgery to remove a bone. At that time of the operation, Chogye Rinpoche insisted on not receiving anesthesia and said, "I have never been in a coma in my life when I should have been awake." The disciples were shocked, but they had to follow the instructions. From Chogye Rinpoche's words, we could see that he was so advanced in meditation that excruciating pain of cutting flesh and sawing bones could not affect his will. After the operation, the disciples said they would like to worship the bad bones taken out from Chogye Rinpoche, but he refused and said, "In the future, I will leave a lot of sarila for you." This showed that he was not only open-minded, but he also had great confidence in his own realization. Because Chogye Rinpoche spent so many time in meditation retreat, he was regarded as a hidden master. He has completed the equivalent of several 3-year meditation retreats. In his life, he remained to meditate and pray 20 hours a day, following the example of past Buddhist siddha such as Virupas in India and Milarepa in Tibet. Despite being in his 80s, Chogye Rinpoche still maintained these extraordinary levels of practice and Dharma activity. As the saying goes, there is a time when causes arise and cease. His enemies told his disciples, "My mission in this life has been fulfilled." This meant that he was nearing the end of his time in Jambudvipa. He has been a strict practitioner throughout his life and has devoted himself to the renaissance of Tibetan Buddhism. Approximately 4 or 5 days before Chogye Rinpoche was about to enter parinirvana, he told the attending monks at Lekshe Rattling Monastery in Lumbini, the holy birthplace of the Buddha, more than once, "I'm going to the Pure Land of Great Bliss. Go to open the west door." Sensing that Chogye Rinpoche was about to pass into parinirvana, the monks quickly brought him to the retreat center, Narayatan. 2 days before his parinirvana, he instructed the housekeeper again, "I'm going to the Pure Land of Great Bliss. Go to open the west door." At 6:45 a.m., on the 22nd of January 2007, corresponding to the 1st of December 2133 of the Tibetan calendar, His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche passed away from this world into parinirvana at his Joghan residence, retreat center in Narayantan, Kathmandu, Nepal. His Eminence, sitting in the solemn posture of his usual meditation, peacefully went into the parinirvana with a serene complexion and remained in the post-death state of meditative absorption, samadhi. There was an unbelievable tranquility and profound blessing within 100 feet of the residence. What was even more remarkable was that the sky began to shine with amazing clouds and a multicolored rainbow. The monks were amazed by the constant changing colors of the clouds. On the 16th day, February 6, Khyenrab Rinpoche saw the sign of white body and judged that His Eminence had withdrawn from meditation. Sitting in the solemn posture of meditation, His Eminence stayed Thupten for 16 days, setting the records for the longest meditation period ever parinirvana. The most venerable Khyenrab Rinpoche then took on the responsibility of conducting the puja for His Eminence parinirvana according to Tibetan Buddhist customs and rituals, and prepared for the cremation puja as required in accordance with the Dharma. In the words of His Holiness the Sakya Trichen, describing the great accomplishments of His Holiness, there are many who have attained the wisdom arising from the study of Scripture. There are some who have attained the wisdom arising from contemplation of the Dharma. There are few who have gained wisdom arising from meditation. His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche is one who has attained all three wisdoms. One should consider oneself fortunate just to meet him, which is in itself a great blessing. Through Sakya Trichen's praise, we comprehended why Vajrayana His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche was superior and extraordinary. His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche was venerated as the Guru of all Gurus. The 14th Dalai Lama had once said he took Chogye Trichen Rinpoche as one of his root Gurus. Not only the 14th Dalai Lama, but also the 41st Sakya Trichen, as well as the head of the Lama, Kaju, Guru, and many other Lamas had received the superior Dharma from Chogye Trichen Rinpoche. His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche was respected as Gokha Dakshin, the great guide of West Nepal, by the king of Nepal, King Birinda. The sacred body was brought back to the main temple, Gyashar Kushang Monastery, which was next to Buddhana Stupa from the retreat house in Narayantan. The car drove slowly to show respect along the way, and more than 10,000 people hoped that they could pay their last respects to express reminiscence. Rinpoche and lamas from different temples and lineages saluted respectfully with the non-Buddhist music along the way. In addition, crowds representing the dependents of Mahagala followed the ceremonial vehicles. When the sacred body of Dharma King entered the front gates of the stupa, two round rainbows appeared around the sun in the sky. All of a sudden, every person felt an incredible blessing atmosphere, and local television stations and media rushed to take photos of the superior scenes. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on February 25th, raindrops in the shape of flowers fell from the sky. In the sutras, it is often mentioned that thorn apples fall from the sky, but people often think of it as a description or praise. Everyone who saw the raindrops in person was deeply touched, and words could not express their feelings. After about half an hour, snowflakes in the shape of flowers fell from the sky. Flat areas in Kathmandu, Nepal, had never snowed in the past 62 years. All disposed at the scene rest firm confidence and all the people sighed for not being able to be on intimate terms with mentees or spiritual guides. Every morning, countless people went on a pilgrimage to pay their last respects or worship colors to His Eminence, and there were 5 types of ceremonies carried out solemnly. To pray that His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche return and guide all beings to relief from samsara, Rinpoche from Sakya and different lineages held different types of ceremonies. March 3rd was the Jopita ceremony of His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche. To attend the ceremony, Longdu Yenji Rinpoche led his disciples to Nepal once again. Besides, there were roughly 1,000 representatives, disciples, and local congregations belonging to 4 schools of Tibetan Buddhism worldwide coming to attend the sacred and solemn ceremony. Therefore, there were so many people that no one could get to the venue without an invitation and a certificate of passage. During the fire worship ceremony to Hevaja, Vajrasava, Vajrayana, and Vajrayana, held by Chogye Trichen and other gurus, some devoted disciples who took photos of the cremation ceremony saw the appearance of His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche. Others saw Surya fly into the sky along with the smokes of fire worship and absorbing into the realm of Dharma. Everyone prayed that His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche could return to guide all beings and relieve them from samsara and achieve nirvana. After the sacred cremation ceremony, the sky near the stupa where the ceremony was held was full of mantra whales. This showed the significant blessing from His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche. At 6 o'clock in the morning on March 12th, the older Lodin Khen Rinpoche held the ceremony of opening the stupa. A rainbow appeared around the sun in the clear sky once again. To our shock, after 9 days of cremation, Chogye Rinpoche's heart, tongue, and eyes were undamaged, which represents his eternity in the body, speech, and mind. In addition, there were a lot of Surya, especially the blue and black ones, which assuredly be the result of practicing Mahagala during his life. In 2008, the stupa of His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche's in Gyatso Monastery, located in Nepal, and a stupa made of gold and silver were worshipped in his meditation retreat room. The consecration ceremony for both was held by His Holiness the 41st Sakya Trichen, along with other Rinpoches and Lamas. In January 2019, a memorial stupa of Chogye Trichen Rinpoche, which has a height of 103 inches and a diameter of 54 inches, was consecrated at the retreat house in Narayangtang. The ceremony was held by His Holiness the 42nd Sakya Trichen, along with other Rinpoches and Lamas. After the cremation of His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche in 2007, the compassionate Longdu Yenji Rinpoche led his disciples to Nepal to respectfully bring back the Sarira and immediately worship them in the stupa at Bodhimanda and Buddhist centers subsidiary to Guanyin Shan. Till now, there were hundreds of stupa worshipping the Sarira, praying that Chogye Rinpoche constantly blessed all the disciples of Guanyin Shan. On the memory day of Sakyamuni Buddha descending from heaven in 2017, the compassionate Longdu Yenji Rinpoche held the consecration ceremony of the statue of Chogye Trichen Rinpoche. The Guru taught, our patriarch, Chogye Trichen Rinpoche, is the closest Buddha to us. This was how the compassionate Longdu Yenji Rinpoche and all disciples remembered him. Hiring a famous Taiwanese artist to carve his lifelike bronze statue, the statue looked as if he were right in front of us. With the noble virtue and standard of a spiritual cultivator, a compassionate Longdu Yanjin Rinpoche showed through the pursuit of Buddhism and practice after certification, respect toward the patriarch, the practice and demonstration of Dharma, and the compassion, toleration, and expectation for all beings. Longdu Yanjin Rinpoche once taught the consecrated statue of His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche will be worshipped at the internal Bodhi Manda of Guanyin Shan. The Dharma lineage of Vajrayana will be more glorious in Taiwan, and the preaching of Buddhism by Guanyin Shan Zhonghua Dabei Fazhang Buddhist Association, Dabei Fazhang Taichung Center, will be more prosperous. Those who sing or learn about it will gain superior benefits, and all beings will obtain the significant benefits of liberation. Longdu Yanjin Rinpoche had demonstrated the teachings to approach the Holy Guru for us, with his words and deeds toward the Patriarch and his way to enlighten the disciples, which showed the supreme wisdom of the profound and lasting Dharma.